Clap alien cheeks? Oh, I love it. Give that man a prize for the best ever protest sign. Clap alien... Bro, let's go clap some alien cheeks, guys. The year is 1940. Project Mogul, Maurice Ewing, an extremely prominent geophysicist. What he did was he went to the U.S. government and said, listen, I know how we can win the kerfuffle. So what he did was grabbed a weather balloon, some sensors, and a microphone. And keep in mind, guys, a microphone so sensitive that it has the ability to kind of distinguish from man-made sounds and natural sounds. So it could easily tell you if it's a thunderstorm or there are other random man-made sounds, or if it's big booms occurring, like people testing things in the Soviet Union, maybe. So they got together for the launch of this balloon. It happened, 1947. Same year, Roswell occurred. This birthed the entire UFO craze in the United States of America because of a classified program that was not declassified until 1994. Right, so we now know, in fact, that it was Project Mogul. It really wasn't something that the government was hiding here. Well, I guess they were hiding because it was absolutely a classified program that was going on. But it wasn't an alien. Not that instance, let's say, guys. I'm sure there are other instances, because, I mean, we do have a lot of things that are kind of weird these days, like the Tic Tac, right? If you know, you know, right? And the USO that just, honestly, how do we explain that also? There are two videos that are extremely damning, guys. They freak me out. So I'm glad the United States of America is looking into these UAPs, guys. Absolutely. So, but all right, listen, the name of the video is Why the U.S. is Getting Serious About UFOs. And this is a suggestion via Patreon.
Well, if there's a good thing, it's rotating.
That's the Tic Tac.
Unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, have captured the imagination of Americans for decades. But much of the conversation around UFOs has been confined to science fiction movies and novels, such as the 1982 hit E.T. In the absence of government commentary on the topic, conspiracy theories around the U.S. concealing alien life and technology in secret compounds like Area 51 have run rampant. In fact, a 2019 poll found that 68% of respondents believed the U.S. government knows more about UFOs than it's telling us. Earlier this year, conversation around UFOs reached a fever pitch after the U.S. military shot down several unidentified objects in a matter of days.
It has happened again for the third day in a row and the fourth time in just 9 days. The United States has shot down an unidentified high-flying object.
One of the objects was later identified as a Chinese spy balloon. The rest, President Biden has said, are likely objects tied to private companies, recreation, or research institutions. In an attempt to be more transparent and address potential national security questions.
I'm gonna go ahead and give him that. To be honest, like, if it's happening in America, guys, we are crazy. I'm telling you, we are nuts. This is something that is extremely plausible. It is extremely plausible that someone with enough intelligence has built something ridiculous in their backyard. I'm telling you, that's us, right? Just we need to come to terms with that, but it's absolutely us, bro. But all right, let's get it.
The government has taken up the charge to publicize
some of them,
and legitimize the study of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, as the military has rebranded UFOs.
Today is the first hearing of its kind where we will attempt to get down to the bottom of what is actually happening with UAPs.
We want to shift the conversation about UAPs from sensationalism to science.
A 2022 UAP report published by U.S. intelligence stated that 195 of the incidents the office had examined could be attributed to ordinary explanations, like drones, balloons, and other objects, including birds. However, another 171 incidents were labeled as uncharacterized, with some appearing to have demonstrated unusual flight characteristics or performance capabilities that require further analysis.
We experienced was, like I said, well beyond the material science and the capabilities that we had at the time, that we have currently, or that we're going to have in the next 10 to 20 years.
I think they have started to recognize that we should actually have the ability to report these objects, not because we're out there doing some type of UFO hunt, but because it's a matter of national security and domain awareness that the tactical air crew in this country understand what's in front of their aircraft.
Let's go.
Here is another UFO bulletin. The Defense Department has just announced that the unidentified flying object has suddenly disappeared from our radar screen.
The military defines UAPs as unidentifiable objects.
Bro, that's just fake. Okay. See, now we understand why we never have any clear images, because when they're clear, they just look fake. Because this is just fake. But let's get
that travel in the air or water, as well as transmedium objects that can transition between space and the atmosphere, or between the atmosphere and bodies of water. Sightings of unidentifiable objects have been reported all over the world. Hotspots include the Middle East, the coasts off of China and Korea, and along both coasts of the US. Such objects are usually described as round in shape, white, silver, or translucent in color, and with no thermal exhaust for propulsion. Investigation into UFOs in the United States can be traced as far back as the late 1940s. Project Blue Book, which ran until 1969, recorded over 12,000 sightings. Out of those, over 700 remain unidentified.
For just take a minute to go back to the origin story of UFOs, which is Roswell, 1947.
Right.
It was learned after the fact that metallic deflated object that was found in a field by a rancher and his son was a government surveillance balloon designed to look for Soviet non-compliance with nuclear arms control that was in place after Second World War. And the government didn't want that program public. And so a military spokesman actually spoke to the local press and used the phrase flying saucer, and then you're off to the races.
And this is exactly why this happened. Right here, period. Nothing else more than this. We get it. What happened was classified, but the last thing you should have done was say anything about a flying saucer or some type of UFO, some type of alien thing. You should have said none of these things. But I get at the same time, what else could you do if the actual information was classified? And literally, think about this here for a second, guys. Almost 50 years it took to actually tell the truth about what happened. Almost 50 years. So it tells me when they're saying something, you should probably not pay attention to it because it's probably nonsense. We'll find out in 50 years.
Here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States.
The U.S. is not the only country to take UFOs seriously. A number of South American nations, including Uruguay, Argentina, Chile, and Peru, all have government programs that study and investigate UFO activity. In France, the French Space Agency has been studying UFOs since 1977.
The modern era of UFOs being in the news pretty much started in 2017 when the New York Times leaked, and then the Defense Department admitted to them these 3 Navy videos that were quite striking, showing objects moving apparently at very fast speeds and in erratic ways that the pilots didn't understand. And that sort of opened up the box, if you like. And then the government...
Right, the famous Tic Tac video.
...had to take it seriously.
The article brought to light the existence of a shadowy $22 million UAP program known as the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program that the Pentagon had funded from 2007 to 2012.
Okay.
Public discourse around the topic reignited.
Clap alien cheeks? Oh, I love it. Give that man a prize for the best ever protest sign. Clap alien... Bro, let's go clap some alien cheeks, guys. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to get. How do you know the entrance is near the cheeks? It could be somewhere else. You never know. But I guess still means the same thing. Guys, that's a crazy sign. I want that for my wall.
In response to mounting public pressure, a flurry of government activity over the last few years has been aimed at demystifying UAPs. In June of 2021, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence released a preliminary report on UAPs. This was followed in November by the Pentagon establishing a group to identify and track objects in restricted airspace. Then in June of 2022, NASA convened an independent expert panel to help study UAP incidents and advise the DoD on how to gather and interpret data on UAPs.
And why are they experts?
The following month, the DoD established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, to synchronize efforts across DoD and other federal agencies in detecting and investigating UAP sightings. Meanwhile, Congress has sought its own answers. During a July hearing, Congress heard testimony from 3 former military officials about their experience with UAPs.
My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
Grush went on to say that he had interviewed individuals who had recovered non-human biologics from crashed UAPs. The Pentagon has denied such claims. Experts are also wary.
I'm not going to attribute bad intention.
But guys, again, they're not going to say it if it's. Oh God, guys, they're not gonna tell us, bro. They're not going to tell us. They're going to deny, say the exact opposite, and then in 50 years, we're going to be like, oh, okay. That's what's going to happen, guys. Unfortunately, for some reason, the government that we fund with our tax dollars, doesn't want to work for us.
To David Grush, but it was anecdotal. I mean, if you looked at his actual statement,
mass hysteria is probably going to be the reason.
He was talking about someone he knew who told him that this existed. It was secondhand, so however dramatic it was, it's not going to be persuasive.
Former Navy pilot Ryan Graves also testified. Here he is talking about an incident he experienced in 2014 near Virginia Beach.
Okay. After upgrades were made to our jet's radar systems, we began detecting unknown objects operating in our airspace. At first, we assumed they were radar errors, but soon we began to correlate the radar tracks with multiple onboard sensors, including infrared systems, and eventually through visual ID. During a training mission in Warning Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, 2 F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter.
Okay.
The mission commander terminated the flight immediately and returned to base. Our squadron submitted a safety report, but there was no official acknowledgement of the incident and no further mechanism to report the sightings. Soon, these encounters became so frequent that aircrew would discuss the risk of UAP as part of their regular pre-flight briefs.
CNBC spoke with Graves, who is the executive director of Americans for Safe Aerospace, a nonprofit organization dedicated to aerospace safety and national security with a focus on UAPs. Though initially conceived as a tool to educate the public and Congress on UAPs, the organization's function has expanded.
We weren't expecting to fill the role of information receiving organization, you could say, but once we stood up, we received a lot of contact from commercial pilots as well as other veterans that have had some type of experience in their professional duties that they want to share. And so at safeaerospace.org, pilots and others can go, they can submit their experiences, and we have relationships on Capitol Hill as well as in the Pentagon where we can bring these cases for further investigation across official channels.
Yeah, but is this going to be public information? Like if I go to their website, is it like a forum where I can actually read other people's takes on things, guys? Because I would love to. It was new information.
The DoD now has its own website to publicly share declassified information and videos of UAPs. The website will also eventually allow current and former U.S. government employees, service members, and contractors to submit reports regarding UAPs directly to AARO. The DoD plans to open the reporting mechanism to the public as well.
Okay, let's go.
While further study of UAPs is necessary for both matters of national security as well as the advancement of science, experts say it's going to be a difficult undertaking.
I'm not sure the government has figured out a way to deal with the potential fire hose of, 300 million Americans reporting strange things they see in the sky. And the reporting rate and the number of incidents will go up dramatically because everyone's heightened awareness of this issue.
Right.
We already know that most UFO sightings, and this is well documented, represent atmospheric or astronomical phenomena. The planet Venus, meteors, fireballs, weather balloons, make a list. They're not exceptional. They're not strange. and you don't really want to be inundated with that.
Right. There's something in the sky. Bro, it's Venus. Please don't call because you see Venus super bright one day. Please, I beg you. Don't embarrass yourself, right? And this video here you're about to see here is the USO video where this like thing just comes flying out of the ocean or into the ocean, more like.
Another obstacle that the government and those trying to study unidentified objects face is
that's
combating the
crazy.
stigma associated with UFOs.
Been kind of ingratiated into the little green man and UFO conversation due to media and whatnot for quite a while. And it's turned into an entertainment topic for the most part.
Right.
During his testimony, David Grush said that he had been persecuted for his reporting of UAP incidents.
It was very brutal and very unfortunate, some of the tactics they used to hurt me both professionally and personally, to be quite frank.
NASA has said that the scientists it tasked with studying UAPs also faced harassment.
Not only were some of the things that our panel members received during the course of this study simple trolling, some of them actually rose to actual threats.
As for a connection between aliens and UAPs, both the military and NASA have said that they have found no evidence to suggest a link. But the possibility can't be completely discounted.
If you ask me, do I believe there's life in a universe that is so vast that it's hard for me to comprehend how big it is?
Okay.
My personal answer is yes.
Right. I think that would be the logical answer. I think if you say no to the fact that you don't know, obviously, and the overall scale of our universe, that's like immeasurable, it seems. Well, it can be measured, but you get what I'm saying here. You just can't measure it, right? Mentally. I'm sure with numbers you probably can. But anyway, before I start going crazy in this topic, anyway, in a universe that you cannot measure, you have to understand that it's extremely plausible for there to be life, even though life may not be like you and I. It's not human life, right? It could be something else, right? Life, in fact, is and can be microbial life. It's life. It's alive. It's moving. Its focus most likely is to breed, eat, live, right? I mean, it's a different type of life. Will this life be technologically advanced? Who knows? I'm going to go ahead and say probably not, right? But just based off of how rare what we have is, or it seems in our pocket of the universe, at least, it could, on the other side, they could be Star Trek right now, guys, potentially.
It's hard for me to imagine that we're completely alone in this universe, and that's part of the difficulty in this conversation. It's hard to deal with an unknown when we have such little information, and
Right.
it's why gathering new information is just so important right now.
NASA says one of the biggest issues with UAP research right now is lack of quality data.
While there are numerous eyewitness accounts and visuals associated with UAP, they're not consistent, they're not detailed, and they're not curated observations that can be used to make definitive scientific conclusions about the nature and the origin of UAP.
Right.
To tackle this issue, the organization plans to use its own...
Like, guys, what do you think these blurry images are going to do? Nothing. No one can study that nonsense. Okay. You can't. We need perfect photographed images of these things. Okay? That's it. Like, for example, I always have a camera on me, right? Generally, I've been a photographer for 20 years. I can't go anywhere without a camera. It feels weird, right? So I always have a camera, occasionally with a long lens. And I can, if I see one, I'm photographing it, and it's going to be in like, I don't know, at least 50 megapixels. Perfectly clear images. But for some reason, I don't see them. The people who see them have potatoes, bro. All right? The images look terrible. Like trash, bro. Like what's the one in the Sasquatch? Sasquatch? Bigfoot. I think those are the same things. Either way, cryptozoology nonsense. The people who see Bigfoot, right? They always have the worst device humanly possible to photograph these things. So you know what I'm going to go ahead and say? It doesn't exist. Period. Until you prove it with solid image in 50 megapixels with great lighting so I can zoom in and see the person's eyes underneath the mask. I apologize. Until then, I won't believe it.
Own highly calibrated instruments to gather more detailed data. NASA also plans to utilize AI and machine learning to search the skies for anomalies. The public can also help.
There's a wealth of data that a cell phone takes, and you can imagine designing apps that make the images relatively tamper-free. And I think if we have a collection where interesting events are collected by citizens.
Bro, stop. This doesn't make any sense. Let's make an app dedicated to it. So when you see something, open the app, photograph it, and then the images will be relatively tamper-free. Bro, no. That's not how that works. Right? That's not how imaging works. They're going to screenshot and then put the UFO into the image. I guess he said relatively. But either way, guys, that doesn't make any sense. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. You're just going to get a lot of fakes now.
Posted, and you have multiple images of the same event, we will be able to learn a lot.
In the meantime, we may just have to be patient.
Suggest that people, the media as well, just be uncomfortable with the uncertainty for a while.
Anomalies in the history of science often tell you something very important, that your theories are incomplete or there's some whole new world of reality that you haven't understood. And I think, scientists being open-minded have to acknowledge that may be the case with this phenomena too. It's a small subset. It doesn't matter if it's only one or two. If there's some genuinely new phenomena there, let's find out what it is. Let's figure it out.
I'm down. I love the idea. All right, guys, listen. Again, I'm glad that the American government is looking into something, but I find it interesting that it's at a time where we went from $9.7 trillion in debt to $32.7 trillion in debt, guys. I find it interesting. Is it that you're trying to hide money somewhere? So you're like, listen, let's go ahead and invest in something that we've said was nonsense for our entire existence. Right? We need to find a brand new money sink, an excuse to, I don't know, raise taxes or something crazy, bro. Who knows? Right? But either way, I'm glad it's something interesting at least to look at, right? Not a screw in a congressman's office costing $50,000, right? Just one for the door. It costs $50,000. Okay, but all right, listen, enough of my rant. Listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.